What is up, my cutouts cardboard ninja here coming at you with a video, and this time I'm going to try, or was going to try, to explain the new penetration mechanic. So the way that the penetration mechanic is written by the devs indicates that every weapon will have a penetration value. Every weapon that has a projectile has a penetration value. So for example, if you look at a gremlin, which of course, oh my god, already messing this up. If you look at a gremlin, they don't have a penetration value. It just exists. It has damage resistance, it has bonus damage dealt when crashed into, and so on and so forth, but it doesn't have penetration value. However, weapons that have an actual projectile component, such as the whirl, do. It's underneath features, and it looks like a little shield with a bullet going through it. According to the devs, as written, what that means is how much damage will be passed through to the next part if the part is destroyed, or effectively how much of your base damage is necessary before your projectile expires. Now, this is a projectile expiry thing. The idea is that it's trying to save cycles in the server, calculating projectiles, and all this other crap like that. So, also, other weapons such as cannons, like the Little Boy or the Mammoth or the Executioner, all of these have varying amounts of penetration, because that is the timer at which the explosive component of the weapon detonates, meaning you strike their build and it will keep passing through parts on their build until a percentage of the bullet damage is dealt, at which point that is the point of detonation of the weapon. All right, pretty straightforward, right? Doesn't work that way. Turns out this thing is jacked, and there's a reason why I'm saying this. So I'm going to use a weapon called the Synthesis, and the Synthesis has I should actually do that first. %10 penetration. So at 10% penetration, according to rules as written from Gaijin, if it deals 10% of its base damage, the projectile should effectively stop in that part. It should do full damage to the part, but if the damage exceeds the part's durability, well, it should stop right there, right? It doesn't do that at all. That is 1.5 damage per bullet, because the Synthesis, which fires 5 times, does a total of 75 damage, but it only does 15 damage per shot. I've tested this. The ways I've tested this is myriad. I've tested this with 14 damage durability parts, and it will always deal all full damage, 5 damage to the cabin, and it will obliterate all of the parts. It does this consistently 100% of the time. So the penetration mechanic as written does not function. So I went around and started trying to test, well, what could they mean? Because clearly what they've written, that doesn't work. Well, come to a minor conclusion, and it's supposedly that it's supposed to be working on pass-through penetration. You might be thinking, what? So here's something interesting. It does work somewhat the way that I thought it does, except it doesn't do it consistently. So what I thought was, it's trying to say how many pass-through parts that it can shoot through before the damage disappears, not how many actual parts. Well, let's find out. That looks about right, right? It loses 10% of its damage and stops in the second shot. Or it stops in the second catch. That is what they're saying, right? Well, let's give it a try. Let's see how many times that functions. So it's already worked once, meaning 10% of the damage is dealt by going through 2 parts. It's caught in the third, and you can actually see the penetration value working effectively, not as intended, but, you know... Oh, wait, what's that? What? What? It's going right through. It's going right through. It's hitting the cabin. And not only that, it hits the cabin with random numbers. Sometimes it hit with 8 damage. Sometimes it hit with 16 damage. Okay, let's try it again. Let's see what we get. Line it up. 10 damage. That's not 8. All white damage. There's 8 damage going through. Are we seeing the problem? So, penetration through parts that have pass-through seems to be... There seems to be an interaction there. Sometimes it stops in the second part. Sometimes it just goes through all the way. 32 damage made it through. It's inconsistent as hell. It just does not work the way that it's written. Period. It's crazy. It's wonky. And with structural parts, I have tested this a myriad number of ways, and it never works. So 54 damage went through, 42 damage went through. It's passing through the same number of parts, but tons of damage is getting through in some instances. And on the very first try, which you guys saw, none of the damage made it through. So, yeah, your mileage may vary. That one, don't count that one. That was too low. I was shooting, apparently, part beneath it. But yeah, your mileage may vary on this. Sometimes it will stop outright. Sometimes it will pass through entirely. The penetration value is meaningless. Or, not so much meaningless, is inconsistently being applied. This could be due to distances traveled of the projectile through parts. This could be due to, who knows? That time, look at that. Sometimes it's being stopped on the second part. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, there's your video. Penetration doesn't work at all like it's expected to. You know what? While I'm here, damn it, I never do this in advance. I should have just done this in advance, but I didn't. Let's go ahead and grab those parts. Set it up just so you guys can see that I'm not just crazy. We're going to use barrel quarters. Barrel quarters have bullet and blast resistance. They have no energy resistance, so they will take the full 15 damage. They have 14 health each. All right. So we've got 5 barrel quarters, which is a full barrel and a quarter. We're going to grab a synthesis. I'm going to try and repeat this. Basically, this should deal, as it's done every time before, 5 golden damage, and the rest is going to be white. Yep. So if this worked the way that Targum's, Gaijin, whatever, said, it should do no damage, actually. In fact, yeah, it should only obliterate all the parts and do no golden damage whatsoever, because there should be no damage pass-through. But there is damage pass-through. And I've tested this before. I may as well show you. I assumed that they were using the 10-pin rule that exists now for damage pass-through with projectiles. No, it's over infinite distance. Like, it's over infinite distance. It doesn't even matter. This can be over 10 away. It can be, like, over here. Matter. Get this video banged out. You guys have better things to do than watch me put things together. Lost track of the car. There we go. But yeah, this happens over an infinite distance because the projectile is just passing through these parts after it destroys the part, right? And I miss, of course. After all that effort, I miss. Damn it. Okay, 75. So, yeah, penetration doesn't work the way it's written. It appears to only have some effect when dealing with pass-through parts. The effect that it has when dealing with pass-through parts is unknowable and damn near untestable. So, I hope you guys enjoy your Crossout, but for right now, by and large, the overwhelming vast majority of weapons simply pass through everything, including but not limited to structural parts. They just blow right through it. So, yeah, keep that in mind when building. You want to build chunky in the modern meta. That's the takeaway. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one after they fix this goddamn penetration value bullshit. Peace.